How's it going, guys? Strife here. This is the walkthrough for CoE Path 2. So Path 2 is probably the middle difficulty path of this dungeon. Path 2 and 3 are similar. The only difference really is one of Alpha's attacks is different, and then there's going to be a different boss before his third phase. So we'll kick it off with Alpha. Really the only thing you need to watch out for is you want to dodge these red circles. You want to count to 2 and then dodge, and you'll get evade frames. Besides that, he's just going to do his AoE flame like he does in Path 1. In Path 3, he does that conal attack, which I think it's a bit harder, does a bit more damage if you do get hit by it. So Path 2 is probably a bit easier because if you have a Guardian, you can just remove the shout, or remove the flame with shouts when he does his AoE. So really just focus on those red circles, kind of like Path 3. Gotta res this guy real quick. Alright, so the next part's going to be exactly the same as the other two paths. We're going to run through here, kill some golems, do the laser jump trap room, and then fight the other golem champion. So if you're familiar with this part, you can skip ahead, or you can just keep watching. Alright, so once we get up to this room, if you've watched my other paths, you'll know that we're going to line of sight him on the corner just to group up all the golems. So I'm going to run in this room to start the event and aggro the golems, and then we're just going to stack on this right side. If you don't kill them fast enough, there's all these red circles on the ground. You do probably want to evade them if you don't have like a lot of protection and stuff like that, because they will do damage. We kill these so fast that usually it's not an issue. But if you do have lower DPS, you may want to spread out a bit more or dodge around. But as you can see in a DPS heavy group, by grouping them up on the corner, we are able just to kill them really quickly. Alright, so this next part, it's pretty easy once you get the timing down. What I do is I hold forward and jump in the same amount of time. So once the laser gets back to this side, you'll start and you'll be in the middle of the two lasers. And right now I'm just holding forward and jump in the same amount of increments. And it's pretty easy once you get the timing down. Looks like our Mesmer made it over with a portal anyway. And I'm not sure what he's doing. Alright, over here we're just going to get on the consoles. 1, 2, 3. And that's going to shut off the laser trap for your other two party members to get across. So in this next room, the Guardians want to equip Shield of the Avenger, or your Spirit Shield. What this is going to allow us to do with the Mesmer is we can ignore the turrets that give him boons. If you do have 10 in your virtues, you want the Spirit Shield duration for 30 seconds. So I'll cast first. So we're going to go in, I'm going to use Shield. And then you'll see that the bolts aren't getting in. And since we have you want to use stability when he spins also for your Guardian. But you can see that our Mesmer was able to remove his boons. The third auto attack on Sword with Mesmer removes a boon. So we just remove the initial 3. You can also use Arcane Thievery and spread it to your party. And then the rest aren't going to get in because of the shield. Occasionally they may get in due to the timing. The shield's up probably like 95% of the time, but it has that little window where some bolts could get through. But overall you're going to block most of them out, and then the Mesmer is going to be able to remove whatever does get through. So you should be able to get him down in roughly the 60 seconds that the Guardians have their shield up. And I forgot to use my potion there, but you want to use the Inquest potions also to do more damage. And whatever food you're using, obviously. Alright, so as you can see there, it was pretty quick. We were able just to ignore the turrets, so it's pretty easy if you have Guardians and a Mesmer there. This next room is going to be the same as Path 3. We're just going to defend the cannon that has to blow open the door. Nothing too difficult. It's pretty hard to fail this. There's just going to be mini golems that you can kill in a couple hits that blow up. And then at 30% and I believe 80%, 2 silver big golems are going to spawn. So you just kill those. You can actually ignore the second set. The second set, you probably won't kill it in time because the cannon does charge pretty quickly. And they despawn at 100, so we usually just ignore those two. So of course when you're killing the silver golems you want one person to at least watch the cannon because a few golems spawn behind it, or in front of it I guess. So as you can see, the other 2 silver golems just spawned. I'm just going to ignore them because, again, when the cannon hits 100%, they'll just despawn. And they don't really do much damage or anything, so... And then you get your chest. Charge core, sweet. Alright, so the next part we're going to be running through. So group up. You want, if you're Guardian, stability. Because I think it's the Defilers, they can grab you and pull you back if you don't have it on. So you're just going to run up. When we get to this room at the top where the second subject alpha fight's going to be, we want to stop at the second pillar. This will allow us to leash everything except like 3 berserkers. And then the Wraith. The reason we do this is because the Wraith actually never leashes. So if you run too far into the room without killing it, you're going to have to fight Alpha and the Wraith until it's dead. So it gets a bit harder. Sometimes there's these grubs which die in like 2 hits. But you just want to kill the Wraith and then like 2 or 3 berserkers don't leash, and then you can run in this room. And you'll see that the doors close and then Alpha's gonna spawn. Alright, so the second fight of Alpha is going to be exactly the same as the first. The only difference is he's going to put one person in a purple crystal like the other paths. If you're all in melee range, then you'll naturally just cleave it off. The other thing is when there's one circle like there just was, you can actually just run to the outer circle. It means it's going to be an ice circle and it only does damage when you're in the center of it. So you don't really need to waste an evade for that single circle. But the multiple ones like this, it's a combination of ice and earth, so you need to evade. Because the earth does damage when you are on the outside ring. So technically, if there was just one earth, you could stay in the middle of the ring. And then the ice only does damage in the middle. So it's going to kill you. Alright, so once you get him to 75% health, you can go pick up your chest. Or sorry, 25% health, 75 off. So for this next part, you want to equip Staff, if you're Guardian, just to clear these blossoms, kind of like the TA blossoms in the path if you're running through it. Once you get through this section, What I usually do is I'll run him first on Guardian, and I'll aggro the first set of mobs. So I'll run in here. There'll be some volatile blossoms as well, so you want to clear those out with staff. And then after you aggro them, you can actually run them to the center, like right where I am, and let them blow up. It looks like my Mesmer just killed them all. This is his first time on this path, and he thought you could range the boss. You can do damage to the boss, but it actually, like the equivalent to one golem exploding on him takes like a minute of all 5 people ranging, so it's not really viable. It's going to take you forever if you range it with weapons or even melee it. So what you should do is, if those 3 golems that I drug into the middle did explode, it would have done a good chunk of his health in the beginning. And then as you can see, I'm using the number 1 skill, the first skill on this rifle, which will charge the golems and bring them towards the boss. What I usually end up doing is the length that the golems will move towards the boss after you shoot them, it's pretty short, so you don't want to shoot them too soon. Okay, and there I use the number 2 skill, or my teammate did, but use the number 2 skill, you can actually knock them forward if they start charging and aren't at the boss. But as I was saying, you want to start shooting the golem. Let me knock this on. As it gets closer towards the boss, because the amount of time that he's going to like charge up or whatever, it won't reach them if you start shooting them right when they get out of the door. So you want to wait until they naturally aggro you a bit closer to the boss. So about where he was right there, maybe halfway or a little bit less, is when you want to start shooting him. I shot him a bit early there, but you just keep doing this. How fast you kill this boss depends on how fast you can drag the golems towards him. And sometimes the bosses, like little spikes on the ground and stuff, will explode and instantly kill the golems. So if you're too close, you're going to get downed. So you want to watch out for that as well. Looks like we just need one more, and we are done. Alright, and that's it for the Vine boss. Overall, in pugs, he's a lot easier to coordinate than the Destroyer in Path 3, which is why most people find Path 2 easier than Path 3. The difference between those two bosses. So, like, even if you're solo, or like your pug sucks, you can, as a guardian, for instance, or I think any class really, you can just run in there and actually, without the guns, just naturally aggro them towards the middle golem. You do want condition removal and like some invulnerabilities, but I've been able to just kill that guy solo on guardian before by doing what I did in the very beginning. Alright, so as far as alpha goes, he's the same as the second fight, just the crystals and then the red circles on the ground. Nothing too difficult if you've already fought him twice and know all his moves. So there I just stayed in the single circle since I knew it was going to be ice, and used Aegis instead of wasting time dodging since time warp was up. And it looks like he bugged, which happens a lot. Probably happens most of the time when we fight him. When you stack a bunch of people in melee, he just like bugs for a little bit. Not sure how you even do it intentionally. It just seems to happen like probably at 50% of the time we fight Alpha, he bugs for a little bit, and it's just time based, so eventually he'll get out of it. Maybe 30 seconds or so. But there should be enough fights in this video for you to see like how you fight him and his patterns and stuff. And that is it for CoE Path 2, and thanks for watching.